What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we keep going through the older Tom Hanks flicks, and we're going to take a look at 1985's Volunteers, starring Tom Hanks, John Candy, Rita Wilson, Tim Thomerson, Geddy Watanabe, George Plimpton, Ernest Harada, Alan Arbus, and Xander Berkeley. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And like I said during the introduction, we're going to continue pushing through these earlier Tom Hanks films on our way to pick up where we left off in January. And today we're going to be discussing the 1985 film Volunteers, reuniting Tom Hanks with John Candy after the success of the two of them in Splash together. Now, as our movie opens, we meet Lawrence Bourne III, a spoiled, rich kid who just graduated from Yale, class of 1962, with a $28,000 gambling debt. After his father, Lawrence Bourne Jr., refuses to pay off his debt, he escapes his angry creditors by trading places with his college roommate, Kent, by jumping on a Peace Corps flight to Thailand. On the plane, he meets Washington State graduate Tom Tuttle from Tacoma and the beautiful, down-to-earth Beth Wexler, the latter rejecting his advances once she realizes why he's really there. Once they arrive in Thailand, they are assigned by John Reynolds to build a bridge for the local villagers. On day one, Tuttle gets into an argument with the villagers over what wood to use. The only villager who speaks English is a guy named At-Tun. Tuttle then gets captured by communist forces who brainwash him into doing their bidding, while Reynolds makes passes at Beth. Lawrence befriends At-Tun, teaching him and several other villagers gambling card games, but they are met by the powerful drug lord Chung Mi, who forces them to finish the bridge quickly. Lawrence eventually wins Beth over, but she is captured by Reynolds, who is working with Chung Mi. They rescue Beth, who urges them to destroy the bridge, and Lawrence reluctantly agrees after professing his love for her. They get the villagers on board with the plan, and they get Tuttle back to reality, plotting to leave dynamite in the center of the bridge so that the entire structure collapses. Their plan works fine until Lawrence is confronted by Reynolds, who threatens to kill him. Lawrence is able to distract Reynolds just long enough to enact the plan, jumping into the river as the bridge explodes. Beth saves Lawrence by performing CPR, and they kiss once he awakens. Sometime later, Lawrence and Beth are married in the Thai village, and our movie ends with Lawrence writing to his parents, saying that he finally did something for the right reasons. I thoroughly enjoyed the chemistry, once again, between Tom Hanks and John Candy. Rita Wilson, no stranger to Tom Hanks fans, his longtime wife. They had originally met on the set of an episode of Bosom Buddies. This was them kind of getting to reconnect with each other, and we all know how that romance developed and blossomed. Rita Wilson plays Beth in this film. Geddy Watanabe, hilarious as At-Tun. He was definitely making a name at the time. 16 Candles, the Brat Pack Classic, along with his other many roles. He would eventually come back to be in That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks later in the 90s. Just a solid cast with a decent story and the comedy in the right spots. This was funny without it being as over the top as yesterday's Man with One Red Shoe was, but it was still, by and large, a comedy. There was very little drama. It just wasn't as over the top. I don't really get into that over the top comedy anymore like I did in my younger days. Maybe if I had seen these films in the 80s or early 90s when I was a lot younger, maybe I would have appreciated the comedy a little bit more within these films. But I feel like this one had just enough comedy to make it entertaining without it being as slapsticky as yesterday's film. When it comes to my rating for Volunteers, I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5. I definitely feel like it was better than yesterday's film, so it deserves the higher marks. I apologize to those of my fans for as short as this episode is going. There just wasn't as much synopsis to transcribe and to read off, thereby making my discussion about it after the fact a lot shorter. So I do apologize for this being one of my shorter videos. I'm sure we'll more than make up for it this month as we get deeper into Tom Hanks films, and especially when I bring my special guests on for those films later on in the month. 3 out of 5 stars for Volunteers. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with the pairing of Tom Hanks and John Candy. I wish they had done more together, but alas, as we all know, John Candy's life ended early in the early to mid 90s there. We lost him way too soon. I do believe this was the last time they were paired up together, and it was a shame because they had good chemistry. But 3 out of 5 stars for me when it comes to Volunteers. What do you guys think? Those of you that have seen Volunteers, let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. When you get out there on social media, let's try to get those hashtags trending. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course, the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade JJ Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag StatBoyApproved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, which will also be repeated 1 hour later on the Jeff Meacham Network when we discuss 1986's Nothing in Common, starring Tom Hanks, Jackie Gleason, Eva Marie Saint, Hector Elizondo, Barry Corbin, Celia Ward, Bess Armstrong, Dan Castellaneta, and Mike Hagerty. You're not going to want to miss out tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. right back here on an all-new Renegades Reviews. And if you do miss that, 1 hour later on the Jeff Meacham Network for the replay, Nothing in Common. I gotta admit, I had never seen this one prior. I was very much looking forward to seeing it. And if you want to know what I think about the teaming of Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason, you're going to have to tune in tomorrow. Either way, on this channel or the Jeff Meacham Network, you find out what I have to say about that one. To all my loyal fans out there tuning in for the premiere, leaving your thoughts and comments over here, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Likewise, all my loyal fans and viewers out there tuning in a little bit later in the day, watching on demand, leaving your thoughts and comments down here. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all my loyal fans and viewers out there. Tune in on a regular basis. Show me that love. Show me that support. Going back to the archives, digging up those old episodes and watching them, trying to help me boost up my viewership hours so I can eventually get monetized, make some money on this endeavor. Thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in and joined me here today, and I will see you guys next time.